Mabrika. Welcome, Soul Tribe, to this episode of Deep Soul Awakenings. Get ready to step into a place of visibility where your heart and intuition are your guides.
What's up, Soul Family? Welcome to this episode of Deep Soul Awakenings. It has been a while, and I just want to say that I love all of you so much. Thank you to those of you who always tune in despite my sporadicness in recording, and thank you to all of you who are new and have made it this far. Life, right? It just continues to go and grow and be everything that it is. Time stops for no one. So I've been sitting today, and there are some things that I'm holding on my heart that I just felt the need to come and share with all of you. And I'm really hoping that you can't hear the background noise, so that I can keep this recording. Some of you may know, some of you may not. I have an 11-year-old son who is graduating from elementary school and going into middle school. And with this big transition, there's been a lot of things that I've been thinking about when it comes to my son, when it comes to his school life and just his life and our life in general. When my son was born was the beginning of one of the beautiful iterations of my spiritual journey. And, my mom passed away just a month before he turned 1 year old. And for the 2 years that proceeded after that, I would end up living life asleep, in a sense. I just kind of went through life. I wasn't really awake. I wasn't really paying attention. And one day it was like I woke up and I saw that he grew before my eyes, but I couldn't remember any of it. And then I had this beautiful baby who wasn't speaking and who was beautiful, though. So loving, so giving, so affectionate. And that began my journey with the world of special education. I started early intervention at 18 months old, after having been denied early intervention because I was told that he didn't need it. And then all of a sudden we had this moment where there was this deep regression. He stopped talking. It's like almost as if he fell asleep, in a sense, when it came to his development. I advocated for him again and he was approved, and we've been navigating this special education journey ever since, and working with my son and being with my son and watching him grow. There have been so many instances where I've been told of the things that he will not be able to do. I was told he would never talk. I was told he would never be able to be in a classroom with his peers. I was told in so many different ways, in so many different forms, essentially to just give up, because him having a normal life of whatever is conceived as normal was never going to happen for him. It just wasn't going to happen, and I should just accept that. And I never did. I never will, quite frankly, to be honest. As parents, we have our children and we grow with our children. And this world tends to tell us all of these things that are wrong, all of these things that they're not doing, or milestones that they're not reaching on this hypothetical chart that they've given us. of what a typically developing child looks like, this box that they've created that our children should be able to stuff themselves in. And for me, I've never attempted to stuff my kids in a box. I've never wanted to. I've always wanted them to grow and to be able to be themselves. And, my 11-year-old is super immature. He's silly. He's inappropriate at times. He cracks jokes at the wrong time. And, honestly, sometimes it kind of annoys me. And then sometimes it's the most thing that I love about him in this world because he is 11, but he is 11 in every sense of being 11. He hasn't been forced to grow up. He hasn't been forced to be mature. He hasn't been forced to take on adult problems. And because of that, there are so many people that find issue with it. He could be a bit more mature. Yeah, he could be, but he doesn't have to be. He's 11. He only has so many years of being a kid. Let him. Our journey with navigating special education has been an interesting one, and I find myself every year advocating for him to show that I believe in him, to show that he is capable, to not allow for the different systems that we navigate to dictate who he is. And in that, I've found that there are so many instances in navigating all of these different places and navigating all of these things that we are told what we need to do to help them. And I find that many times the things that we are told that we need to do don't necessarily correlate with what we feel in our hearts. And I know that all of these systems are created to help our children, but I say to all of you, I say to all of the parents, you know your child best. Never stop advocating for your child. You literally know them best. You are their biggest advocate. Go for what your heart feels. As someone who's been in special education with my son, I can say that, you should go for the classrooms where they have peer models. You should go for the classrooms where they interact with their peers who are typically developing as much as possible so that they can learn and imitate from them. Let your kids be silly. Let them be themselves. Trust in your heart. You know your kid. You've raised them. You've been with them every moment of their life, or at least almost every moment. You've watched them grow. I have an 11-year-old who I was told is never going to speak, is never going to be able to do pretty much anything. And this has been the story that repeats in one way or another continuously in the past, oof, 10 years that he's been within the schooling system in one way or another. And then these past 10 years, every year he proves everyone wrong. These past 10 years, every year I advocate for him. Ask questions. Say what it is that you're looking for when it comes to school, when it comes to everything. Don't just agree for the sake of agreeing. And all of this, I feel as if, it's weighing heavy on my heart because of the state of the world. And, there is much beauty in this world. There is much to be thankful for, but there is also a lot of ugly that happens in this world. And I hope that you guys can hear the recording stuff, recording in progress part of this because I have a little bit of a hoarse throat, so I keep coughing and I don't want to cough in your ear. Um, yeah, the state of the world. We need to protect our children. We need to advocate for our children because our children are the ones who are going to inherit everything. They are the future earth keepers. They are the future leaders. They will be the ones who live on this earth in whatever way it is in which we leave it to them. We are the ones who are connected. We are the ones who are here to teach our children how to take care of the earth. We are the ones who are here to teach our children to lead, to be love, to be understanding, forgiveness. I know that people will tell you that I am wrong, but there is nothing more powerful in this world than love and forgiveness, compassion, sovereignty of the mind. And working with my ancestors, they have showed me many things. They have showed me themselves shackled in chains, bound by their necks. They have helped me to understand where it is that a lot of the generational trauma comes from, and the overthinking and the patterns and the things that are passed down through the lineages, where it is that it comes from. For a lot of us, those negative voices that we have stem back to colonization, they stem back to slavery, they stem back to those voices telling us that we are less than, to those voices telling us that we are unworthy, that we must conform, that we must be slaves, that we must serve in the ways that do not suit us, in the ways that do not reflect sovereignty, and in the ways that instead reflect ownership over us. Many of these systems were created to oppress us, to cause us to sleep, not to awaken us. And as I say this, I say that these thoughts are my own. This is the way that I feel. You may feel differently, and that is okay. But I am a person whose spirit uses to speak, and my voice speaks from my heart and is the voice of my ancestors. In my ancestry from Puerto Rico, you know, free Congo, free Sudan, free Palestine, free Puerto Rico, free Hawaii, free the fucking world. My history, Puerto Rican history, the people of my land, which I am now part of the diaspora for, have been taken from the land. They've been kicked off the land. Others have been able to claim ownership over the land, and at the end of the day, no one owns the land. She owns herself. Our people were also placed in the boarding houses. Our people were experimented on. Our people were sterilized. When you look at the history of many indigenous peoples, this is a recurring pattern. This is a story that we all share. But when you look at the mind frame and the programming of people, there are many who would consider themselves to be different, who would consider themselves to be separate. The battles that people fight are not only their battles, it is all battles that we once shared. We once shared and that we do shared. For me, the biggest battle that we fight now is for sovereignty in the mind. Because to me, and what I've learned from my ancestors, the battle once went from being physical in the aspect of people claiming ownership of our physical bodies. From there, it went mental, psychological. And now there's this aspect of being in control of our thoughts and having sovereignty over the mind and of our thoughts and of our thinking, and even over our own self-worth. The most valuable thing that we have within our lifetime is time. We are only guaranteed a certain amount of time within these bodies. The only real currency that we have is time. Because yes, there is the physical currency of money, but what do you trade that currency in? Time, your time. And with the time that I have, I will always advocate for my children. I will always advocate for love. I will always advocate for forgiveness. I will always advocate for our voices to be used, for the things that we hold in our hearts, for the things that we are passionate for. And while our battles may look different, in the heart of it, our battles, all of our battles are all very much the same. There is no person on this earth who is not worthy, not deserving of living, not only living, but living a beautiful life. And with everything that we have going on, with all of the issues that many people are facing with ICE, with families being ripped away from their children, with children being ripped away from their families, the amount of people who are being killed, the amount of people who are dying from different sicknesses that they hold within their bodies. I would definitely say that we could all use a bit more compassion. We could all use a bit more love. And I ask all of you to really think of what it is that you stand for. And I know that it sounds very cliche for someone to say to be the change that you wish to see in the world, but there is truth in that saying. If we hold ourselves to integrity, to our integrity, spiritual, emotional, physical integrity, and the way that we navigate ourselves in the world, and we are being that change. The things that you teach your children are being that change. Our children are taught to love each other, to love others, to show compassion. My children are taught that if you're walking in the street and you see garbage, to pick it up and throw it in the trash can. My elder son is very adamant in protecting the earth. He's furious when people cut down trees. My young one loves all creatures. We feed the birds every day. He shares his food outside with the animals, treats them with care, treats them with love. So all beautiful things that we can do to walk in that integrity, to walk in that love. The biggest thing that I could say is to always, always, always advocate for your children. Advocate for what you feel is right. Don't let the world tell you what's right for them. Because the world sometimes and its norms and its conformity will lead you astray. Notice what you're noticing. Notice what it is that you're feeding the fire within your heart. I dream of the day where I am able to live in nature, to be one with her, to have my big, beautiful garden, to have my flowers for the pollinators, to talk to the birds and the trees every day, to live amongst them, to be their protectors and the guardian of the land that I live upon. But until I get to that moment, I will continue to do the things that I can do within the constraints of living in a building in New York, to live in that integrity, to be in that integrity. I learn about many of the traditions of my ancestors in order to honor them, but also to connect in the same ways that they did. And I know that many of the traditions of our ancestors do not fit in the world in the same ways of the current world that we are living in. But as the ancestral jewel, as the manifestation of our ancestors, we owe it to them to take those traditions to fit them into this current world so that we do not forget them, so that we do not forget our powers, so that we do not forget the ways in which we are connected, so that we do not forget the magic that we are, so that their names are not forgotten. I love all of you deeply, and I hope that wherever you are on your journey, that you can take a moment, if you have not in a long time, to give yourself the biggest hug that you can and thank yourself for showing up in the ways that you do every single day. Thank you for being you. You are not broken. You are navigating the world in the best ways that you can with what you know. And I love you. And while I am alive in this body, while I am here raising these beautiful boys, my promise to you is that I will always teach them to be themselves, that I will do everything in my power so that as they get older, they are solidified in themselves and knowing who they are and knowing that they are loved in every single way, in every single aspect of everything that they are. And I will do my best to always teach them that no matter what mistakes it is that they feel that they make, that there is always forgiveness. The biggest forgiveness, the biggest kindness that you can give yourself is forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness for yourself. And in the ways I raise them, and in the ways in which I conduct myself with integrity, and the ways in which I use my voice, and the ways in which I love others, treat others, that will be my contribution to change. The ways in which I love my Pachamama, and the ways in which I honor my ancestors, all of it will be part of my change. And there will be a day, one day, where I will be able to visit all of my ancestors' lands, all of my ancestral lands, and I will have my feet touch the beautiful sand of the beaches where they once swam, and I will bring them home. I will bring them solace. I will swim in the ocean and give her my love, so that my ancestors will once again remember their ancestral lands that they were taken from, so that they can remember what home looks and feels like, so that I can begin to heal that longing for home that I have felt within myself since I can remember. We are all one people. We are all brothers and sisters. We all have value. All life has value. Our children should be protected. All children should be protected. No one's life is worth more than someone else's. I love all of you deeply. Thank you for listening in. Till next time, take care of yourself and remember, if there is ever a moment where you feel lost, you can look up to the stars, beautiful place from which your ancestors watch upon you. They will always, always, always guide you home.
Ari Kamabu, thank you for listening to this episode. We look forward to continuing to find our way back to indigeneity with all of you. May your heart continue to be your guide. And remember that whenever you feel lost, you can look to the stars, and your ancestors will